Hi, everybody. It is Craig and Arun back with your NBA betting picks for Monday the 19th of January 2026. Now, it is championship day for college football, but the NBA doesn't care. They scheduled a ton of games today. We're going to have all of them for you like we do every day. We haven't missed an NBA day yet or game yet. We don't plan on doing it. We haven't missed football either. So make sure you get on all of our videos. But if you want in our best plays, people always say the most common comment that's left here at YouTube is, what's your best play for the day? We don't tell you what our best play is because that's what our clients pay for. You want to get in on that and win with us? We've both been hot the last couple of weeks here. All you got to do is get in on it. 2-for-1 NBA pass. It's just $99 for a week pass. It's usually $99 each. That's 50% off. DocSports.com/Craig Arun. You will not find it anywhere else. That link is in the description as well. If you don't want to type it in, you can just click the link. But make sure you get in tonight. We're both going to have top plays in the NBA. I'm either going to be a 6 or 7. IC thinks he's going to have a 7 units. You get both of them for tonight and 6 more days of the NBA plays. Okay, let's go. Kick us off here. Milwaukee at Atlanta. Atlanta's back at home here. First, I think playing without Trae Young back at home, if I remember right. Atlanta's favored by 2.5 total, 232. Both these teams are 5-5 in the last 10 games. Something's got to give. What do you like?
Atlanta won 145 to 124 last time out, but this was last year. So they have not met this year yet, which is surprising because I always think these two teams always hook up. And Atlanta actually beat them last time, but again, they haven't met this year. So the line comes in as Atlanta is a 2.5-point favorite. I know that seems a little shocking, but Atlanta is desperate for a win here. Take a look at the injuries here. You'll see that Milwaukee has Prince out. Atlanta, of course, has Daniels. Porzingis. Daniels is listed as day-to-day. Porzingis is out. So is Risa Shea. Milwaukee, of course, comes into this game having lost to San Antonio, Minnesota, Denver. They're not playing well. The return of Giannis was fantastic, but, obviously that has sort of phased out now. Milwaukee finds itself 17-24. This team very well might not make the playoffs, even with Giannis, which is a bad look. And this team now has lost 3 straight. Atlanta, of course, comes in having lost. Atlanta's 20-24. They're only 4 games under 500. They're really looking for a leader in this game. They lost to the Lakers, they lost to the Blazers, and they lost to the Celtics. Okay, so you have a Boston team that shot 51% from the field last contest. Atlanta was down big. They gave up a 52 spot in the second quarter, 52 points in the second quarter, and they still lost by about 26 points, and they outscored them 32-15 in the fourth quarter. So imagine how bad the Hawks got beat in that game. So at some point, this team has to step up on defense. You have the Bucks that are really struggling. I'm going to go with the Hawks here minus the 2.5. I think the Hawks actually think that they can make the playoffs and they can make a dent there, but they got to do something here to avoid losing 4 straight. Craig, Oklahoma City only a 6-point favorite here on the road against Cleveland. Oklahoma City beat them 134-114 about 2 days ago, right? They just played them. That was my bad. That was last year. They beat them 134-114. So they have not met this year. Oklahoma City lost to Miami by 2 points in a game that we called here. I said I think Miami is going to win that game. Miami was a 10.5-point dog, and they covered that contest. So Oklahoma City now comes off of a loss here, losing 120-122. Cleveland off of a nice pair of wins against Philadelphia, back-to-back big wins over the Sixers as small dogs. Who do you like here?
Well, the second one was super impressive because they didn't have Garland or Merrill, which both those guys have been playing really well. And they came back with shorthanded and won in a revenge spot there. Philly, back-to-back revenge within 3 days, played both of them in Philly. But they're both out again tonight. I think this is a problem because you want to beat Oklahoma City, boy, you better be fully ability to bring everybody you have. Because if you don't, this team can embarrass you. And I think Oklahoma City's like, it's measuring stick games they're looking for right now. It's like, where do we measure up against the rest of the league? So there's only so many teams I think they feel like to stay with them. I would definitely think Cleveland healthy would be a team that they think, hey, we face them in the finals. They'd give us a good match. I think this is a game that they send a message. I'm going to lay Oklahoma City minus the points here. I just think until this Cleveland team can finally get healthy, they just were starting to get healthy, and then Garland hurts his foot again. Merrill goes out. I think you take NBA in the NBA night. You take the Thunder minus the 6. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on all the great content we have here at Doc Sports. Next game, Clippers and the Wizards. Clippers favored by 7, total 224.5. I mean, don't look now. Clippers are only 5 games below 500. They're 8-2 straight up in their last 10 games and 7-3 against the spread. And they're killing teams, I see. So it's like, I think they probably were like, hey, if we can get within 1 or even 1 game before the All-Star break, which they still have time, like now we're in it for the second half. What do you like here?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the wildest things I've seen. I haven't seen a team start so bad and then make such a great run. They're only 1 game, actually tied for the 10th spot right now. I mean, they made a remarkable comeback, right? This team is sitting at 18-23. They're tied with the Grizzlies right now, and they're only about 2 games out of the 9th spot as well. This team is going to make a great run, and they're continuing to make a great run, right? So you have a Clippers team that's now won 5 in a row. They beat Toronto, Washington, Charlotte, Detroit, and Brooklyn. The problem is they play Washington immediately after just beating them 119-105. Huge win against Toronto on the road here. It was a contest there. Kawhi did not even play. They shot 52% from the field. They were able to defeat Toronto in overtime in just a monster win here. So, as far as the injuries are concerned here, Kawhi's listed as day-to-day, so you're going to have to just check later if Kawhi's going to play or not. Washington has, Trey obviously is still out. Of course, comes in off of a 6-point loss to Denver on the road, but they did cover. They've now lost, 7 in a row in that contest. Last time these two teams hooked up was 119-105. That game went under the 227.5. This game I actually think this game might go over the posted total. I think Washington can be an active dog and step up here with a little bit of revenge. But the Clippers are also just clicking on all cylinders on Toronto, Washington, and Charlotte. So I either lean on the Clippers or lean on the over. If I had to pick something, I'd probably take the over 224.5 here. Craig, Utah, 16.5-point dog against San Antonio Spurs. Utah can be a feisty team. Utah already beat this team 127-114. That's right. Utah actually beat this team as a 13.5-point dog early this year. Sure, the Spurs have revenge. Utah back-to-back bad losses against Dallas by 22 and 18. They did cover against the Bulls and Cavs prior to that. San Antonio off of nice wins against Minnesota and Milwaukee. Who do you like here?
Yeah, the big news is Markkanen. He's been day-to-day. I don't think he's played the last 2 games at least, I think. Maybe even going a little further back. So this team is just a different team when he's not there. He's he's in that range where he's like top 15, 20 player in the league. And, there's not many 7-footers. It's like he's almost like Dirk Nowitzki, a little more athletic maybe than Dirk Nowitzki. It's just really hard to guard him. He's so big and he shoots it so well from the perimeter. He just spreads the floor. I don't think he's going to play tonight, so I probably would take the over in this game. 241.5. You just think, oh, well, they're one of the best teams in over, and every total's in the 240s, usually mid 240s. So take the over 241.5. I think they're going to force the Spurs to play their game. I still think the Spurs win. It's just too many points for me to lay. I do think the Spurs probably win in that 14 to 16, 17-point range. Just too tight there. So I think the edge would be on the over instead of messing with the side in this one. Next game, Dallas and the Knicks. Knicks minus 10 here, favorite, total 230.5. You don't see many 10-point favorites that are 2-8 in their last 10 games. And not only 2-8 straight up, they're 2-8 against the spread. And I believe Brunson is they're hoping he's going to be here for this one tonight, I think, maybe. So that would maybe you get we get Brunson back. If not, I don't know how they cover this big number. What do you like?
The last time I saw him, he is expected to – he's listed as questionable, but I think he might play. But I'll tell you what I'll tell you what I think, regardless if Brunson plays or not.
He hasn't played recently, just so everybody knows. This would be his first game back for that ankle injury.
Right. So you have the Knicks here who won 113-111 earlier this year, and they've beaten them the last 2 times they've played them. Dallas comes in nice wins against Utah, back-to-back big wins, covered both those games. New York, of course, lost 3 straight in a row, losing to Phoenix 99-106, losing to Golden State, losing to Sacramento. So New York would really love to bounce back big. It would make sense for him to come back in this contest, regardless if he comes back or not. That game against Phoenix, where they lost 99-106, I thought they played really well. They gave up that game late, but Phoenix also shot 41% from the field in that contest. Keep in mind the free throw. Phoenix also shot pretty good well in free throws. They had 27 free throws. And New York's issue is that they just don't have any depth. Between Towns, Anunoby, Diawara, Bridges, and McBride, and Clarkson, these are the only guys really making the box score. There's no depth on this team. I think what happens here is Dallas comes off those 2 big wins against Utah. I don't think they're going to be as effective against New York. I'm going to lay the minus the 10 here, as I think New York finally bounces back. I don't think New York loses 4 in a row. Craig, Indiana, 8-point dog against Philadelphia here. Keep in mind that Philly won 115-105 earlier this year. Indiana got a little revenge. Indiana coming off one of the worst losses of the year, 78-121 against Detroit. After a nice win against New Orleans, they had won 4 of the last 6. Philly off that back-to-back losses against the Cavs, which is kind of bad because you just got trolled by a conference opponent. Who do you like here?
Yeah, Philly's playing better. Especially, both those Cleveland games were this close. So if you flip those, all of a sudden, oh wow, what are they doing? But they didn't, like that. And I always say, after the absolute worst, when a team gets absolutely slaughtered, and that you couldn't say it any other way, how Indiana played and what the outcome was, that the next game you kind of got to go back to the well and play them, because obviously if you have any deep down soul, like you pull out a winner from your soul, or at least an effort that they're going to do that. I like Indiana plus the 7.5 here. I mean, to me, if they weren't live, I think this would probably be like a 9.5 or 10-point spread. So at that 7.5 number, I think it's kind of telling you, you probably should give Indiana a shot here. I'm going to do that. Not a huge play, but I do think Indiana steps up with their manhood on this one. Next game, Suns and the Nets. Suns favored by 7.5, total 218. At some point, I thought, Brooklyn is going to get theirs. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, they started to win and play well. No. 2-8 their last 10 games. And they're facing a Phoenix team that's pretty daggone good. The Suns favored by 7.5, total 218. What do you like?
The Suns won 108-84 back on January 22nd. This was last year. So I've been higher on the Nets than most people because I took the Nets against the Bulls at home and they won. I've taken the Nets a couple of times this year in nice spots. But Phoenix, obviously, these two teams have not met this year. Phoenix comes off a nice win against the Knicks, just a huge win for this club. And what's nice about Phoenix is they have great depth, right? Williams, O'Neal, Brooks, Booker, Gillespie, Allen, Iguodala, Goodwin, Dunn. You have a team here that 4, 5, 6, they have about 9 guys that can give you possibly double digits, which is pretty exceptional. Injury-wise, Phoenix has, they're pretty healthy. No one really big missing. Brooklyn has Porter Jr., who could be out for rest. Same with Powell. Brooklyn comes off a bad loss against Chicago, but it's not their fault. Chicago had revenge, and that was actually one of my free plays on the video. Brooklyn shot 46% from the field that game. It's interesting because they have a lot of depth, Brooklyn does, which is one of the reasons why I like to take them as a dog sometimes. They have 10 guys who can score at all times. I think what happens here, since Porter Jr. is coming back, I actually think the Nets can probably hang tough plus the 7.5. They're a pretty feisty dog at home with Porter Jr. back. That gives them 11 people with depth. Phoenix also has Philadelphia on deck too. I'm going to take the 7.5 here with the Brooklyn Nets. All right, Craig, the Boston Celtics here on the road against the Detroit Pistons plus 3. Interesting. Detroit beat them 112-105. Boston beat them 117-104. And Detroit beat them 119-113. So Detroit's won 2 out of the 3 this year. Boston, huge wins against Miami and my Atlanta Hawks. They have now quietly won 7 of their last 10. They're only 4 games behind Detroit. Detroit coming off a monster win against Indiana, 121-78. And they had a nice win against Phoenix. Do you think Boston can step up here, or do the Pistons just have their number?
Well, really, 2 games back when they play head-to-head, that was when Detroit had that, I think, a 13-game winning streak. And they got fouled. Cunningham went to the line. If he makes all 3, it goes to overtime. He makes 2 and misses 1. And they end up fouling and lose by 3. But so it's like, it's kind of like that was revenge the next time out. So I definitely liked them the last time. I like them again here. I think this is a measuring stick game where it's like, you're the number 1 team in the East. Boston's the number 2 team. You might end up facing these guys. And it's kind of like, Boston has when you play Boston or LA, no matter how good they are and that good, it's like, it has a little mystique. All these guys grew up or Boston, Rondo and all those guys, Ray Allen and Pierce and all that. These guys know how great Boston history was, and these guys just won a championship. I think that's a measuring stick game. I think Cade Cunningham, if you like prop tonight, I like his points and assists together tonight. I think he'll end up having like 28, 29 points plus maybe like 9 assists. I just think he's going to have a big game tonight, and I do like them to win and cover Detroit. Next game, last game on the board. Warriors hosting in the Heat. Warriors favored by 6.5, total 239. Warriors starting to put things together. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. They're 5 games above 500. When you're in a very competitive West, they're 8th right now. But like another, they make this like 10 games, all of a sudden you move up your 4th or 5th. What do you like here?
Yeah, the Warriors seem to be kind of in that spot continuously, doesn't it? It just feels like they're in that 6 to 10 spot. They make it to the playoffs, and then they just don't have the depth. We're seeing the decline of a team that really had it really well, and then they gave up the Draymond Green. One of the reasons why they won a championship is probably the edge they brings them, but one of the reasons they probably lost some championships is the reason why he moved some people out of town. Jordan Poole left because of him. Klay Thompson left because of him. I know it's because of the possibly because of the contract here, but who knows? Kevin Durant definitely left because of him. And that podcast between him and Durant was fabulous, super awkward, which made it great. Miami plus 6.5-point dog coming in here. Look, 22 and 20, 24-19 teams hooking up here. Miami won 110-96 back on November 19th. So, of course, Golden State would like that revenge. Miami, of course, beating Oklahoma City. Monster win as a 10.5-point dog. And Oklahoma City actually played pretty well. They shot 55% from the field. But if you're Miami, you got jacked up to play the defending champs. You know, Fontecchio scored 13 points. Gardner scored 11 points. You had Powell, Larson, Wiggins, and Adebayo. Unbelievable that Miami won this game. Okay, just unbelievable. You know, Golden State comes to this game beating Charlotte, beating New York, beating Portland. They're playing really well right now. I think Miami's going to have a monumental letdown. You have a Golden State team that put up 136 on a good Charlotte team. And I got to tell you something. Al Horford looked good in his last contest. He had 11. Melton had 24 rather. Podziemski had 16. Payton had 5. Hield had 14. I don't know, man. Steph had 14. Richard, Green, Moody, all those guys. This team looked really good against Charlotte. And sometimes you just watch a game and you're like, once they get healthy, they're a different looking team. I'm going to take the Warriors. I think the Warriors. And do you really trust a team for Miami who just beat Oklahoma City? Do you really trust that team led by Adebayo is good and Wiggins is good, by Larson and Powell decent, but they have absolutely no depth after that. So I'm going to take the Warriors minus the 10. Or I'm sorry, Warriors minus 6.5. Notice that the total sits at 239 as well. I think this pregame probably goes over the posted total too.
All right, don't forget, if you want to get in our best plays, you go over here, docsports.com/Craig Arun. That'll get you a 2-for-1 pass. So you get the NBA pass tonight. We're both going to have top plays in the NBA. Mine's either going to be 6 or 7. I see will probably be similar. So you get them both tonight. That's a $60 value right there. If you just buy them over at the website, they're single plays. You get both of our plays for an entire week. So you get the 2 tonight plus 6 more days of winter for just $99. You have to use this link to get in it. Some people are emailing. They'll help you at service@docsports.com. But it takes you time to get in. So just go ahead, type this in, links in the description as well, and get in on it.